All right, folks, a little bit different this week. We pushed the show back 1 week, and that's actually, Dustin, the first time since what would it be? December of 2017 that we missed a deadline on the show to change it a little bit. So a little bit different, but turns out nobody actually said anything. We just kind of rolled on, and not a big deal. But hey, we're back. I'm Ted. He's Dustin. This is Cowboy Shit. We put out a special episode this week just in time for the CCMAs in Edmonton. The show is going to start. It's actually starting Wednesday night, like tonight, the day the show comes out here. And then we got the Legends show on Thursday, the awards gala, and the conferences and everything, like from Wednesday to Sunday. But Friday's Wednesday to Saturday. Friday's the gala. Saturday's the big award show. You can watch it live on CTV. But man, it's gonna be a great week here, and we got a great
Oh,
show.
it's going to be awesome. Of course, they're partnering with us on these shows. It's been so cool to kind of get a look behind the curtain of what the CCMA Award Week is all about. We've been chatting with some great artists about their experience with the CCMAs. And of course, this guest that we're talking to today is like one of the most winningest female CCMA artists ever, outside of Shania Twain. And so that's been really cool that we've been able to kind of get into the music world a little bit. And I'm excited for this week because the gala is going to be super fun. I'm excited to be at the award show. I've never been to a live music award show. So this is like checking a really cool kind of entertainment bucket list item.
Yeah. Yeah, gonna be a lot of fun, Dustin. I'm looking forward to going and hanging out in Edmonton for a couple days and getting dressed up. What do we call that? Western formal. What are you wearing on Friday, Dustin? Should we talk about the outfits?
Well, I think I gotta go
Fits?
for I think I need like a monocle and like a little crutch and like a penguin suit jacket or something. I don't know.
Like
I
a
gotta stand
tuxedo? Is that
out.
what
Yeah,
is that? Are you trying to explain what a tuxedo is?
I believe so.
Um,
Orange one, like Dumb and Dumber.
should I wear the blue one? We can be Larry and Harry and Lloyd.
That would be cool.
I don't
But
think we
I'm
should.
excited. I'm excited
I don't
to
think Allie
dress
would
up.
approve,
I
Dustin.
like to dress up in our cowboy formal.
What do
That's
you
gonna be
what do you
cool.
what do you got for a jacket? Sean, editor of the show, Sean Morton, in the past few CFRs has actually borrowed a few of my jackets over the
Oh,
years.
you're giving
So
away wardrobe. I'll be
yeah,
going
what
with
do you
the.
got?
I'll be supporting the my collection of sport coats that I've acquired from the Hudson's Bay Company. Uh,
Yes, one of the oldest
that's
in
where I get.
Canada.
Yeah, that's where I get my sport coats from, and
Yep,
with my cowboy boot ensemble, starch jean, and my Smith build hat. So
hey, there you go.
if you see a couple of cowboy hats bobbing up and down to the red carpet and out and about in the city, that'll be us.
That'll be us. I'm gonna have one of my jackets, but from behind me here, on this side.
Yeah,
This,
opposite hand, Ted.
this
You're screwing it up.
I'm doing it all wrong.
It's all back there.
Anyways, the jackets are back there.
And
But
also, and
from,
also,
from
I'm
Edmonton
excited
though.
for enjoying Edmonton.
Yeah, but I'm saying that the jackets are from Edmonton, from Earl, from
Yeah,
Eddie's
from
Menswear.
Earl. Yeah,
Yeah,
Eddie's.
yeah.
Maybe I should
Earl
swing
hooked me
into
up.
Eddie's and get a coat for the awards.
You better have some saved dinero because it ain't
Yeah,
cheap. It ain't cheap.
but
Gonna be
but
done.
you get what you pay for,
You're gonna
which
get
is a
some
good
nice
thing.
stuff,
Yeah.
but it's also you're probably not gonna have time to get it tailored properly, Dustin.
That's
So
right. Okay.
hopefully have a hopefully your fit is like right off the rack. Hopefully that works.
Yeah. Right off the rack, 42.
Although we could get it tailored in time for the next time you go back to Edmonton, which will be a few weeks later.
That's true. Now, when I was younger, Gator, friend of the show, Stellar had a wonderful thrift shop.
Oh
And
yeah,
usually, this sounds very morbid, but usually, if like, prominent older people passed away, a lot
in
of times
Settler.
their suit coats and their wardrobe, it just gets donated. So if you got there at the right time, and they used to have a deal. It was the brown paper bag, and you filled it up, packed the bag for like $10.
Oh wow.
So for like hockey, when we were playing hockey, when you're younger, midget, um, we would go in there and get our suits and sport coats. So I used to have an unbelievable selection. And I think I ended up getting rid of most of them, but I probably didn't realize how good some of those coats were back in the day. I was getting from Super Flutie Thrift Shop.
Oh
And
dear.
and the key was rolling them up so you could stick as many as you could in
Dash them
the
in there
in the in the brown bag
for 10
for 10
bucks.
bucks.
Okay,
And
but
off to the hockey rink you go.
so were you and Gator just like habitually checking the obits every week, like seeing
Yeah,
like
yeah.
what was
Who
going on?
croaked? who croaked. Hopefully, it's a doctor, a dentist, or somebody, and
Oh
you know,
man.
give them 3 to 4 weeks to clear out the closet, and then go get your good sport coats.
Oh dear.
That sounds morbid,
That's pretty rough.
but yeah. But needless to say, I don't shop at Super Flutie anymore.
Well, because you
Shout out
don't
to
live there
Super
anymore.
Flutie. I
If
don't
you
live
lived
there anymore.
there,
That's true.
you'd totally be
Yeah.
there.
Um, yeah. So sport coats, Edmonton. Super excited. You know, Explore Edmonton's a big part of the award show and CCMA week.
Oh yeah.
Um, we go up to Edmonton lots, or we did for rodeos and CFR days, but have never really had time to like enjoy the city. So I'm looking forward to like Friday and Saturday before the awards, getting out and checking out Edmonton and
Oh yeah.
spending a little more time in our province capital.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to having a day at home, or like not at home, but like having a day like in town and just kind of,
Yeah, we're
you
gonna
know.
tour around and
Yeah.
we'll find some good spots to eat and
Oh, we
have a
definitely
beverage
will,
before the
Dustin.
show and
We definitely will.
take in the sights. You know,
You
yeah.
you and I haven't hung out like that, but like we haven't hung out at any rodeos in a long time, Dustin. For as much as we work in the industry, we don't work in the industry very much together anymore.
No,
We're always at different places, but man,
but not
I'm
at
a big food guy.
CCMA's. We're there together.
Yeah, we are there together. It's gonna be a
I'm
fun
a
time.
and I'm anytime I eat out, it's steak. I
Oh,
think you know
really?
that. Well,
What about if it's 4 days in a row? You can't just have a steak every night.
this past week I had steak 3 nights in a row
Why? Where were
because I
you? What were you
love
doing to have
steak.
steak 3 nights in a row?
Uh,
You can't have steak every night, Dustin. That's psycho.
I know,
You gotta
but
switch it up, man.
we barbecued steak here,
Okay,
so I had a
that's
leftover
allowed.
steak the next day,
You had okay leftover.
and
Okay,
then
fine,
and
fine.
then the next night we went to Joey, South
Mm.
Chinook Joey,
Yeah.
and they have like the little steak on a bun,
Mm-hmm. Like a
followed
steak sando.
by I had a New York steak, and so I had a lot of steak that for 3 days.
Jeez, that's an aggressive amount of steak, Dustin.
That isn't a great, but I love steak.
Well, I love steak too, but I don't love it enough to have steak like every night.
Is there an amount you aren't supposed to have? What's the correct amount
Well,
of steak to have?
you gotta have a little bit of variation, Dustin. You can't just have
According to
steak every
who?
day. You
According to
can't just
who?
have steak every day, man. According
What?
to me.
Okay, listeners, what's the appropriate amount of steak to have in a week?
Yeah,
If
like if
someone
you're,
could chime in and tell me what that number is based
that'd be good.
on science or something.
But what,
Love
like,
steak, Alberta beef.
okay, do you
Give it to
eat
me.
anything else at restaurants though? Like if you're like,
No,
you only have steak?
I only have steak when I go to a restaurant.
Really?
Usually. If there's
Okay, but
no steak, I'll have fish and chips.
but like,
Or
so
chicken
where was I
fingers.
the other day? I was well, oh, so Brett and I were at the Cactus Club a bunch during Armstrong. So we had a really
Yeah.
great show in Armstrong. But one of my favorite parts was that Brett and I we both got rooms at this Marriott that was just north or just on the north end of Vernon.
Yeah.
And
It's got the Cactus Club beside it.
yes, so we
Yeah.
went to the Cactus Club that week. I had the Cactus Club like 4 of 6 nights. So
They
I
have the
would
good
just
sliders there.
yeah, but I had the sushi. I had the sushi and
Oh,
we had truffle fries like every night. Like we would just have like because it's like 11:30 by this point, so you just have like one drink, some sushi, some truffle fries, and then you're good, right? Like I can't have a steak at 11:30 at night. It's way too late.
I could.
I don't want to be just like laying around my bed, just like my
But
stomach's all full. Can't do that.
I'm fussy and I don't like to let the listeners in into my personal life here. But I'm a fussy eater. Like I'm a nightmare to live with. I feel sorry for Allie. We if we're eating at home, we eat like three different things: steak, chicken breast. That might be it.
That's it. Steak and chicken breast.
I like it's meat and rice or meat and potatoes and like Caesar salad.
Oh, really?
I don't and I like fish. Like I like you know shrimp and lobster and
Yeah,
salmon. But outside of that, forget about it.
really.
I'm very picky. I don't like many vegetables. I like carrots and corn and asparagus.
Hmm.
And I don't like sushi. I don't
You
like
don't like sushi
anything
at all?
really. No, I
Man,
don't
sushi's
like
so good.
and I won't try anything. Like I'm a horrible like, hey, just try this.
You're like, no.
If it's not part of my current arsenal of food I enjoy, forget about it. So if I go to anywhere, any restaurant, if they don't have steak, I'm eating like chicken fingers.
Really?
Yeah. So
Man, you eat like a
I'm
child. It sounds like you eat like a child, like
I
a
do.
small
I'm
child. Like you're
fussy
like
and I'm
12.
picky and I won't say yes to new things. and I'm brutal that way.
Really?
So steak it is. Most
Really?
places have it. I will order it.
That's wild, man. That's
Yeah.
wild. So last week, what did I do last week? So I went to Joey. I went to that same Joey on like maybe like Tuesday or something. I forget what day it was, but I was
Yep.
doing a couple things. No, it was Wednesday actually. I had lunch there Wednesday. And I was looking at the menu and I wanted something kind of light and different, so I had a like a yellow fin tuna salad that was really delicious.
Wow.
But
You
also
know,
like even at the Cactus Club I had the ravioli the one night, and then I had the sushi another night, and then I had like three or four different things. Like you gotta like switch it up so you can like see some different stuff.
I
But
would
also
eat
at home
steak
I
every
cooked a lot
night.
of different stuff.
I would
Steak
eat
every night.
steak every night.
Damn.
I
Yeah,
love
okay,
steak
well
so
good to
much.
know.
Actually, one funny story, well, not a funny story. One time we were at a baseball tournament in Bymore, and I woke up in the morning and I was extremely inebriated that night. So I didn't have a lot of memory on the evening. It's slow pitch tournament. I think me and Gator were camping together there. And I woke up and I had blood all over my shirt.
Uh-oh.
And I'm like, oh man, I got beat up for
What did I
sure.
do?
Like I'm checking my
Where's the mirror?
knuckles and yeah, like something like, but it's a substantial amount of blood. So we go outside the camper and I'm like, did I get a fight last night? Like what happened? Like I am beat, like, am I injured?
What happened?
And, but apparently at like 4 a.m, when you're camping for a couple days and your ice in your cooler turns to water and everything's floating,
Yeah.
and there was a steak in this cooler and it was floating in like the wrapper, probably thawed. And I decided that I was gonna pull it out of the cooler, put it on a hot dog stick, and put it over the fire for about 12 seconds, and that was good enough. And so they said when I was biting into the steak, this is blood just like running down my
Oh,
shirt.
jeez.
So wasn't beat up, but still found time, completely blacked out to get my steak fix.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay,
that's all
so
I got to say about that.
question for the audience. Is it okay if you're at the same restaurant, if you're on the road for, say 3, 4, 5 days, is it okay to order the same thing every night, even if it's steak, or should a person switch it up and have something other than steak every night? Basically, we're asking, is Dustin crazy or not?
Yes.
That's what we're asking.
Can't wait
My
to
vote
see the
is
results.
that's not okay.
I think I'm going to get goat. That's what's going to happen.
Okay, let's get to the
Oh,
show here,
this is
Dustin.
a great show.
Oh yeah,
This is really cool, by the way.
yeah. Thanks to Jackie Ray Greening for helping us get it all set up, and Tenille's manager as well.
And
Appreciate
she's an
getting it all
Alberta
going.
girl from Grande Prairie, Tenille
Yes.
Townes. So we're talking the
Yeah.
5-time and reigning female artist of the year at the CCMAs. She's like, she's a
Legit.
heavyweight when it comes to
Yeah.
like capturing titles. She's kind of the top dog, and she's nominated again this year. And she was super cool to chat with. She was so much fun.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I kind of butchered the opening, like the intro a little bit, but like she's won, like you said, what, 17 CCMA awards?
17, yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
5-time and reigning female artist of the year, and like I mentioned, she's won 2 Junos and she's won 2 ACM awards, like the
that's big time.
American Country Music Award, like
Yeah.
the big show. She's worked with, we talked about Bryce Vine, Miranda Lambert, Elle King, Nate Smith, so many different collaborations she's worked on. It's like totally unbelievable. Like I think she's, you know, I would hope as a Canadian artist from Grande Prairie that's living in Nashville and been there for like 10 years, like I hope she's like at this little point where we talk about people that are like an overnight success, but it took them 10 years. Like I hope she's really at that point where she's about to go and just give her. And then we can
Even
say like,
her.
hey, we knew her then.
Well, like somebody's daughter's a banger. Come as you are. That's a
Yeah.
banger. She's got some great tunes, and she was so personable and friendly and so
Yeah.
nice. And yeah, it was a great chat. I think everybody's going to enjoy it. And I think after this interview, she'll have some more fans cheering her on
Exactly.
Saturday night at the CCMA Awards, who
Exactly.
presented this show today.
Exactly. Okay. Thanks, Dustin. Here we are. Tenille Townes. All right, welcome back to the show this week. We have wonderful guest lined up. Thanks to our friend Jackie Ray for making this happen. But she's coming to us from Nashville, Tennessee this morning. Originally from Grande Prairie, Alberta. Dustin, that's a place you and I spend a lot of time on our travels. But she's won 2 ACMA awards, one for the music event of the year and another as the new female artist. She's also won 2 different Juno awards for country album of the year. She's collaborated with some of the biggest names in music. But from Grande Prairie, Alberta, once again, please welcome to the show Tenille Townes. Thank you so much for doing this morning.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to get to hang with you guys.
Oh, well, we're glad to get to hang with you. This is we are talking about some of these different collaborations. Like we talked about that, and I'm a big Bryce Vine fan, and that one came across, and I was like, how do you get a song with a girl from Grande Prairie gets a song with Bryce Vine like that? It's and it sounds wild. The sound of the song is like the first thing that came to my mind would be like I almost was thinking Bob Marley. Like there was some like
Yeah,
real
it's
yeah
got it's got a tropical feel to it, which I love.
yeah very
Yeah, that
tropical.
that was so exciting to get to be a part of that. I got an email reach. It's a song. It's one of Train's songs actually. So I got an email reaching out to sing with them, and there was like an empty verse in it, and so I just sang some harmony thoughts. I literally just sat right here at this table I'm at right now and like sang a couple harmony passes and sent it over as kind of like I don't know if this works, but here's something, and they were like cool, it comes out in 2 weeks, and Bryce was on the empty verse, and I was like, amazing.
No
This stuff
way.
never happens. That was really fun.
And that's just by email.
Yeah, it was someone that reached out to us and was just like, hey, Train's got this new song, do you think you'd want to sing on? I was like, I love Train. I was like, are you kidding me? I would be honored. So, and honestly, it's so fun in music. I guess in anything, it's kind of like just being open to whatever possibilities are around you, and like whatever ends up coming in, like even so much more than the song. I'm so grateful to have a friend in Pat Monahan. Like he's been wonderful to me, and he came up to the CCMAs last year, and we got to meet in person for the first time, and we sang we sang the song together on the award show, which was really cool. And then he's just like he's been a mentor and a friend to me. I've reached out and asked for lots of advice, and we met up in Seattle. I was recording some songs up there last year, and he took me for lunch and let me pick his brain about stuff. And so all those kind of things, it's like the song is really cool, but getting to know the people behind it and the friendships that come from that are just really special to me.
Well, on that same train of thought, we you have a you were on tour with Miranda Lambert at parts of her tour. Is that correct? Is that what we mentioned before? And then there's the other fooled around and fell in love, and there's like who else on that one? It was like Elle King, yourself, Miranda, like there's like seven different like
Uh,
powerhouses. Like you guys are all rocking. Like
ah,
it was such a
Ash-
such a cool song.
Thank you. Ashley McBride's on there. My friend Kaylee Hammock, who's so cool, and Maren
Yeah.
Morris is on there too. And that was really amazing. Miranda's just been she's the first person who ever brought me out on tour. Like I had opened for her just a solo acoustic back in, I guess that was 2018, 2017. And she literally, it was my first time. She put me up on one of her production buses. So first time staying on a bus, first day of like US radio tour, and first time ever playing an amphitheater. And I was like all be thanks to her. And she took the best care of me and showed me the ropes on the road in such a special way. And then a couple years later, she went back out with her Roadside Bars and Pink Guitars tour, which is historically like an all girl jam tour, which is really cool. And she brought a bunch of us out for different shows of that and brought us all together to get to sing on the song. And I remember just like hearing everybody's voices coming through my headphones. I was like, I'm awake right now, right? Like, this is real. This is so cool to be singing on this. And I love that song. And then it was so special to get to celebrate in the middle of COVID and all the craziness. We got to celebrate an ACM together with that song, which is really cool.
But that would have been the COVID year, so it would have been a bit of a weird
It
award
was.
show.
It was definitely a weird, strange award show experience,
Oh,
but still really fun to get to celebrate together.
So
sorry,
you're,
Dustin. Go ahead.
yeah, I was just curious about you're in Nashville, and obviously you cast a big web of some of the industry's biggest stars you get to be around and play with. So what is a for a girl from Grande Prairie, what's a day in the life of someone spending time in Nashville for a small town Alberta girl to be in Nashville? What does it look like day to day when you're working down there and writing and that whole process?
Every day is a little different. I've moved here. It's just been over 10 years for me. And my dad helped me make the drive and like move here. So I'd been making trips back and forth as much as my parents would let me skip school to come and write with people and learn and take it in. And then my dad and I packed up my little Tacoma truck, and we drove like 47 hours from GP to Nashville. And he dropped me off at this little rental apartment in Berry Hill and got me some groceries, and we went to the Bluebird show that night. And then the next day he like flew back home, was like, good luck, kid. And I'm like, I really hope this works, because I don't want to drive 47 hours all the way back home, but I'm still here and I love it. And it's been a great community, and every day's a little different. Sometimes I'll like wake up. I'm always a pretty early riser. I like the mornings, and go for a run, get some ideas going. And then I'll go to like a friend's studio at their house, or we'll meet up at a somewhere in town to like write some songs together. Some days I'm doing different studio things and like writing or recording, or some days when I'm in Nashville, I'm, shooting different things and making up funny things for TikTok and figuring out whatever that is on the daily basis. And then a lot of times for us, touring, it happens on the weekends. So I'll usually, when we're on and off different tours, it just always changes, but usually we leave on like a Wednesday night and come back on a Sunday. So my weekends are usually like Monday, Tuesdays, and that's when I'm writing or working in the studio. So, but it always ebbs and flows. It's constantly changing.
Dustin knows how that goes with the rodeo schedule. We're working on the weekends, and
Yeah,
our
that's
weekends are
right.
definitely Tuesday is my most likely a Saturday of the week,
Yeah.
depending on what we're up to.
It's like extra quiet, special weekend, because nobody else is enjoying the weekend on a Tuesday. So that's nothing wrong with that.
Tenille, you mentioned writing and that process, and I'm always curious about what inspires different artists for the material they write. Do you write a lot based on personal experience? Things that inspire you around you, or what's happening in the world at the time? Like what is the process for you when it comes to writing songs?
I'm definitely I feel like music and writing, like I started writing songs when I was probably 14, and I'd come home from school and just like whatever was bugging me or I couldn't really make sense of, like if I'd pick up the guitar and just write about it, it felt better. So it kind of started as this place to just be able to say anything. And I think getting started as a writer, it was always like I really enjoy the observer perspective, like kind of being the third party person, the bird's eye view of a situation. And I have a few songs that are definitely inspired by people I've met and things that they've told me. Like I have this song called The Last Time that's the first verse like talks about dropping my cousin off at school, and it was from a phone call with my auntie Sue, and she was just telling me about how she was so sad and feeling nostalgic because for all these years she took my cousin and dropped him off at school every morning. And then a couple weeks ago, he got his driver's license and started going himself. And like, she didn't take a moment to remember that it was the last time. And she's like, I'm just feeling so sappy about it. And I was like, I'm so sorry to hear that, but I'm just going to steal it and write a song about it. So it's kind of like, I'm always sort of like, interesting, like trying to make sense of the human experience, I guess. And songwriting's kind of my way to do that. I met a group of people in New Brunswick, in Grand Manan, that were just, they really moved me. They had each other's backs in this really special way, and they'd been through a really rough car accident with 5 kids from their high school in the car, and one of them passed away, and they had her jersey hanging in memory on the gymnasium wall. And I just kind of looked at it and thought about the questions I have for God. And then after that, one of my friends lost her little brother, and it just kind of was spinning in more and more questions. And so picking up the guitar and writing about it is my way of processing that. And so that's where that song came from. But every song's a little different. I will say, going through some of the quieter times of COVID was just sort of like a lot more introspective and like reflecting on whatever I'm trying to feel. So there's a little bit more personal stories and songs that came out of that season. And now I'm sort of swinging back to the storyteller a little bit. So it ebbs and flows.
I'm a big fan of Where You Are.
Oh, thank you.
I really that's my personal favorite of yours. But
Oh,
I've
I
got
love hearing that. That's so cool.
so, and I I was looking back at the lyrics. I'm not great at remembering lyrics at times, but I do remember I'd stand in any ticket line, any mountain I would climb just to find my way to where you are,
Yeah,
which
that's
was like I really like that piece, and I'm wondering like how does that take shape, and then but I also got to throw in there's not many songs that mention the Northern Lights. That's in the kind of the opening part too, but that's
yeah,
definitely a little Grand Prairie piece
it
thrown in
is.
there.
There's a little piece of home tucked in there. But yeah, I wrote that with my friends Daniel and Keelan, and I'll never forget, we were sitting around and Daniel had this kind of like mandolin, electric mandolin. It was this weird looking instrument. And he was strumming and he was like, I have this kind of like Irish sort of melody in my head. And so we're humming on that. And he was asking me about how things were back at home. And everyone is fascinated by the Northern Lights. They're like, are they real? Like, have you actually seen them? And I'm like, I just didn't know how special that was until I left home. And I'm like, people spend their entire vacation just to take a gamble at the fact that the Northern Lights may appear. Like, it's so special. So I loved that we got to kind of sneak that line in. And we were actually laughing about, I don't know if it was Keelan who had been to Disneyland or something and was just like, I waited in the line for 8 hours to get on this ride with this thing. And he's like, that's true love. That's what she wanted to do. And we were just dying. Like, that is true love, is when you'll stand in any ticket line for somebody. That's crazy. But so that's kind of where you are or where that came from. But that song is really special to me because it was on like this acoustic EP that we put out before the first record, and it was called Living Room Work Tapes, and it really kind of like set up that atmosphere that I always want music to have, where it just feels like we're hanging in a living room. Like, I love that part of music, that it can kind of just be that sort of invitation. So that song's special to me. And then a couple of years ago, I had this crazy thing happen where that song ended up on an Air Canada commercial, which was like with these two birds. Have you seen this? This was like a Christmas thing.
We've seen it. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I bawled. They sent me this commercial and I was like, oh my gosh, this bird is so sweet. And anyways, I love that song somehow found a life there too. That was crazy.
Hopefully it came with a free ticket to and from
Nashville. I know.
Yeah.
I wish it. I wish it made no ticket lines for Air Canada to ever stand in again, but it didn't.
I was, talking about, kind of going back. You're talking about Grande Prairie and Northern Lights. So I wanted to circle back because I read a story, and I'd love to hear the story from your point of view about when you were younger going to see Shania Twain. And did you get pulled up on stage? Is that kind of how your love for performing started? What's the deal on that story with Shania?
That was wild. That was some crazy stuff. But I was so in love with music all way before that. And so much of that was because of her music that I was obsessing over growing up. And I was singing "Oh Canada" at the local Storm hockey games at Grande Prairie, and singing at the rodeo and our GP Stampede, and at all whatever breakfasts were happening in town and different like fundraisers. I just was like always looking for a place to go and play some music. And I found out that Shania was coming through, and I got so excited, and my family all pitched in and got tickets to drive to Edmonton and go to the show. And I was just losing my mind. And so I'd made a sign that said, Shania, can I please sing with you? And I asked my mom to make me a costume, and we were like running late out the door. And I looked at her and I was like, Mom, you got my costume? And she's like, oh gosh. She's like, I don't. And she'll tell the story now. She's like, I just took one look at you and I was like, I have to do this. So she plugs in the glue gun and like made me the yellow stripes down my pants, like, and a yellow ponytail on top of my head, like her Miami concert DVD I'd watched a million times. And so the glue gun like dried on the dash of the truck on the way to Edmonton to the concert. But I was so pumped. And so we get there and I'm just singing every word to every song, having the best day of my life. And she came around, the stage was in the middle at the Rexall Center, and she came around and like gave the mic to this young girl, I don't know, maybe 20 seats down, and let her sing a line, and then took the mic back and she started walking towards me. And I was like, oh my gosh, she's gonna let me sing a line. Like, what if she does that? And she didn't reach the microphone out, she like reached her other hand out, and I was so confused, and I was like, wait, what? And then I threw the sign behind me, and she just like pulled me up on stage. I was 9 years old, and we danced around at the stage and like sang this song together. And then at the end of the song, I just remember like looking out. I couldn't really see anybody. I could hear the crowd, but it was like the lights had such a haze. I couldn't see anything. And I just stood there. I was like, again, am I awake right now? Like, this is crazy. And she was like, will you sing a piece of a song for me? And I said, yes, absolutely. Of course I will. She's like, any song of mine, like, just go for it. And so I sang Honey, I'm Home to 18,000 people. And then she's like, I guess I should take you back to your mom now. And I remember the floor of the stage was like checker plate. Like, it was so wild. Anyways, then she like sent me back to mom, and I was just like, that just happened. And it lit such a fire in me to really want to do this. I'd already known it's what I wanted to do. And she just like exploded the dream in my mind. It was so special. So it's now my vision to be able to keep paying that forward and passing that along to any of the next little dreamers down the way, because that was a moment I will carry with me forever. And then last year we had this wild thing where we got to invited to go open for her on her tour, and we played across some Canadian dates with her, and one of them was in Edmonton, almost 20 years to the day that happened. And so she brought me back up on stage and we got to sing together again, and it was like the craziest full circle I could ever have imagined.
I gotta ask what the relationship is with her now. Like, to go and do that 20 years later is wild, but like, did you tell her like, hey, like I'm the girl from that show?
So I had randomly, like, I got to meet her right before the first show that we did together. I had met her briefly one other time, and thanked her. I was just like, I couldn't even form sentences. I showed her the picture that I have of us, and I was just like, how do you say thank you to a person who has impacted your life so much like that? But I did string together a thank you. And then when we got back together on this tour, she was like, great, I remember you. I was like, yeah, I'm the like crazy 9-year-old kid you brought up 20 years ago. So I think she loved the story, and she told the whole story again in Edmonton, which was really cool. So that was awesome.
Wow.
Well, and of course, maybe to segue into that, our show presented by the CCMAs, which is coming up in September, and I know Shania has a Brinks truck full of CCMA awards. I think she's got over 30 of them. But the female artist who's closing in on her is you. I mean, you've won so many. I think 17 CCMAs you've collected, and 5 straight female artists of the year. You're nominated again this year. So now all of a sudden your name and her name seem to come up a lot when we're chatting about CCMAs. What does it feel like or mean to you to get those nominations and win those awards that obviously we just heard your hero and someone you idolized, Shania Twain, won so many as well?
I mean, it's truly such an honor. It's very surreal to hear that whole sentence, honestly, but it's like, it means a lot to feel the support of the CCMAs, because they're truly a community of people in country music in Canada, and they're a community that I've grown up with. Like, I went to my first CCMAs when I was 14 years old in Winnipeg, and I went every year, and I just would go and like learn, and I'd go to all the songwriter shows, and I'd get the courage to go up to somebody like Jackie Ray and be like, hi, my name is Tenille, I want to meet you and thank you for what you do for country music. And now I get to call these people my friends, and to just have like really gotten to know so many great humans through that community is pretty special. So I am always honored and excited to get to come home and celebrate all the great music that's happening in Canada, and to just continue to be a part of that is a ridiculous honor to me, for sure.
Kind of handy WestJet flies directly to Calgary. Hopefully the schedule works out for you, that you
Yeah,
can just skip up on that one.
that is nice when that lines up.
Do you still get nervous going into award show? I mean, you've
yeah.
won so many of these now. Are you still nervous when comes September and they start the Female Artist of the Year category?
Oh yeah, every time. It's like, it's butterflies. It's like I just watched it so much as a kid. I'm just like, I'm standing here, like I'm my feet are on the ground. This is real. But it's definitely a nerve-wracking thing every time, and I'm always like nervous and shaky and all the things. But what I get even more nervous for is performing, because it's like live TV is a very different experience than just playing a show. It's just kind of like, okay, got to get my head right for that, for sure. Lots of nerves.
Can you talk about what you get to perform there yet, or is that all top secret for the TV broadcast?
I'm probably not supposed to tell you that.
You're supposed to tell us.
I probably shouldn't do that, but I'm very excited for this year, and it's going to be a special moment, I think, for sure.
I gotta ask, what's on the wall behind you? Like, as a songwriter, I wonder if there's some ideas back there. I know it looks like one side's thank you cards and different pieces like that, but the other side looks like there might be some little snippets of some lyrics.
Yes, that's my like vision board. So it's kind of all the things I'm sort of dreaming up. There's a picture of a tour bus on there. I hope that we get to tour in one of those one of these days. That would be awesome. Different like people I want to open for, collaborate with, and but yeah, it's sort of an evolving poster board in my little music room up here. And then the other side is, yeah, it's a like encouragement cards and stuff that I treasure, for sure.
It's like real life Pinterest for songwriters, right?
Totally. My art.
What's on the board right now that has already come true?
Oh, if it's come true, it comes off the board and it goes into this little box over here, which is really cool.
Oh,
So then I can make room for more new things that I'm hoping and working towards. But
okay.
yeah, I had the Granville Opry on there for a lot of years, which was really cool to get to play that, and a number one song in Canada, which is really special. So that was pretty cool to celebrate. And CCMAs were on there and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I've got a box of my favorite things that have happened for sure.
What are the biggest ones on the list still?
The tour bus is a big one. I would love to have one of those one day. There's like, I don't know. I have different collaborations. What else is big on there? Someday to be in the Songwriters Hall of Fame. Um, Maybe a Grammy. There's a picture of one of those up there.
What's right in the middle? Do you want to share what, like, the one front and center, like the very middle piece? It looks like there's a big quote on there.
Oh, it just says keep letting go. Experiences are not good or bad. They're just life. So just enjoy them. That's what it says. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Yeah.
You're talking about the tour bus, but you are going on tour this fall across Canada, and I seen you have some exciting stops on there. Thing that brought me here tour is kicking off. When do you kick off for that, and what's that schedule look like for you?
I'm so excited for that. So that's our whole Cross Canada headline tour. We're kicking that off on the East Coast. This is our first time going to do our own shows all the way out east, which I'm really excited for. And then it's in 3 kind of pieces. So then we've got Ontario and Quebec, and then we come back and we do like Winnipeg out west. So that starts in October and we go all the way to just about the end of November. So I'm pretty excited.
And it looks like, just for our Alberta folks, Calgary's November 15th, and isn't that the Jubilee?
Is
Is that right?
And Edmonton is
The 16th.
yes, and
Red
then
Deer's the 18th, and back home to Grande Prairie on the 19th.
yes, and it's my first time getting to play the arena in GP, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Tenille Townes at the Bonus Energy Center, November 19th, 6
Gonna be
p.m.
yeah.
Home of your Grande Prairie Storm, and now Tenille Townes is in the house.
Right. I'm definitely busting out my jersey for that for sure.
Yeah. I used to work in junior hockey, Tenille, so we did lots of trips to Grande
Oh,
Prairie.
no way. That's awesome.
I worked for the team in Drumheller, and we loved Grande Prairie because that was like, in junior hockey, that's like a super nice rink. So we always loved coming to.
Oh, that's awesome. I love hearing that.
And then it was made famous when they brought that welding truck on the ice to fix a door in the middle of a game. I don't know if you ever seen that clip or not, but only in Grande Prairie.
Only in Grande Prairie. It's pretty iconic. Yeah. That's great.
I got one more piece on the tour side of things. It's not really technically tour, but I'm looking at this date, and I didn't double check the Legend show, but it says Tenille Townes with Carolyn Dawn Johnson at the Windspear on Thursday. Is that the Legend show?
Yes.
Part of Legend show?
The CCMA Legend show on Thursday is going to be awesome. Carolyn's there. Brett Kissel's there. Paul Brandt's there. I think that was just announced. It's going to be a really good time. So I'm looking forward to that show.
But are you performing too with her? Or is that you are? Okay.
I'm performing there. Yep. I think we're all kind of performing. Last year, I got to sing a duet with Carolyn at the Legend show, which was really special. I love anytime that happens. But she's truly one of my absolute heroes and dear friends, and I just love her. So I'm so glad we get to be on the show again this year. And I don't think we're singing together this year, but I'm sure we'll all be jamming with each other in one way or another.
What's your favorite event of that week at the CCMAs?
Okay, well, I really do have to say the Legend show has become one of my favorite things because it feels very community centered. Like there's a bunch of different artists coming together for it, and everybody gets to collaborate, and it's really fun. So that's very special to me for sure. I really like the songwriter shows that happen through the weekend as well. I've had the honor of being a part of those a couple of times, but I used to go to those when I was first just trying to learn and soak everything up, and I met a lot of people and heard a lot of things that inspired me. So I really think those are cool to check out. And then the show is always a really good time for sure.
Well, we're lucky because we get to come up and be part of all the shows, and excited to take in the Legend show, and excited to see the award show and the gala and everything that comes with it. And we'll be rooting you on for a Female Artist of the Year.
Thank you for that. I appreciate it, guys. I'm
we're
glad you're
excited.
coming. It's gonna be a good time. I hope we get to cross paths in person there.
No, we'll make a point of it. We'll make sure to say hello.
Heck
We'll be
yeah.
the guys with the cowboy hats on, looking a
Love
little
it.
out of place, but maybe not too out of place.
I don't think too out of place. I think it's gonna be just right.
So being
Uh,
from Grande Prairie, are you a fan of Crooked Creek Donuts? Was that ever a stop for you?
Legendary. They're so good. Also, so when I announced the tour date in Grande Prairie, I called back to my high school, PWA, and like told everybody at the high school that I was coming home first. And so we did like this video chat thing in the gymnasium, and I got everybody donuts from Crooked Creek's Donuts.
Oh, really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool.
I was like, you guys, thank you for celebrating this with me. Everyone gets a donut on their way out. It was fun.
oh wow,
That's legendary.
that's got to be one of the pieces you're most excited about on that tour, though, is to go back home and play. Like, I think it's Bonnet's Energy Center. Is that not what it's called? It's changed
Yes,
names a couple times, but Bonnet.
it
So
certainly has. Yeah, it used to be the Crystal Center, Canada Games Arena.
yeah,
It's had a few names. Yeah.
but like that's got to be one of the ones you're most looking forward to. Or like so last night I was in Kindersley, Saskatchewan, and Dakota Butter's from there. Like we work with the PBR, like Dustin mentioned, the rodeo side of things. But it's his hometown show. He puts it on. It's the Dakota Butter Invitational, and like I can't imagine. I know when I rode in my hometown rodeo, it was the worst because I was so nervous, and I was like, all the kids from high school were there, and I was
Yep.
like this cowboy guy off on this weird path, and didn't like have a lot of friends in high school because I was away all the time on the rodeo trail. And they're like, ooh, but then I show up at hometown like, yeah, this is what I do now. But then I just fall off on, I never stayed on a bull at my hometown rodeo because wasn't that good. But then also it's at the hometown thing, so there's extra pressure,
Definitely pressure.
right?
And it's also like there's so many aunties and cousins and people that I want to see and all the things, but there's only so many hours in the show day, and it's really hard to fill. Like I'm like, oh, I want to hug every single one of you, but this is gonna be a big day. I'm really excited though. It's gonna be awesome to get to be back at home and get to see everybody there, and definitely the weird hometown vibes. I'm with you with the high school people, and that just like an extra layer of nerves for sure, but it's gonna be great.
And then the comp tickets, like there's probably
Oh,
it's probably not a very profitable show. How many tickets you got to give away?
no, but you know what I will say? They're all so crazy. They really are just absolutely crazy. And they've been so supportive and generous. They all were like, we're coming, and can you make it so our seats are together, but we're buying them because we want to support you. So that's pretty awesome. I am very appreciative of that.
Well, we'll make sure everybody checks out the thing that brought me here tour. All our listeners, wherever you are, make sure you take in a stop October, November. You won't be disappointed. And when this show comes out, we're only a day away from CCMA week. So
Let's
we'll
go.
we'll be rolling into Legend Show. We'll be rolling into the award
I
show,
love
and
it. I
it's gonna
can't
be a ton
wait.
of fun. So yeah, we're wishing you all the best on the award show week and the upcoming tour. It looks like it's going to be a busy few months for Tenille Townes.
Thanks for that. You guys are awesome. It's been a joy chatting with you. I'm looking forward to hanging for CCMAs.
What do you got cooking for 2025? What's on tap for next year though?
Lots of new music. I've been recording a few things right now, trying to figure out exactly what I'm putting out next, but been writing a ton, so we'll be looking forward to sharing some new stuff and getting back out on the road.
Well, and one of the pieces, and I forget the name of it right now, but you had another piece with Nate Smith too. So there's probably
Yeah,
some more big collaborations coming out in the next year or so too. I'm imagining.
I'm crossing my fingers. So yes, I got a few things in the works that I'm looking forward to happening. So it's always fun to get to sing and meet new friends and keep that party going.
I guess one more question, Dustin, before we call it good here.
Yeah, we always ask our guests this last question, and
Okay.
it is, what is your definition of cowboy shit?
Ooh, what a good question. Okay, hold on. I need a second. What's my definition of cowboy shit?
Or cowgirl. It depends. Like it could be either one.
Okay, I think I'm having this flashback of this moment where, okay, there was a bunch of us at Bud Country Fever is what it used to be called in Grande Prairie at the Summer Music Festival. And it was okay. I was 10 years old, and I looked up the promoter's name in the phone book after I heard him doing an interview on the radio. And I called Mr. Ken Truen, and I was like, "Hi, I hear you're putting on a country festival and I want to play it." And he laughed, and he was like, "I mean, I guess you can come sing the anthem." And I was like, "Well, thank God." So I got my first gig, and I was so pumped. And then the next year he had me come back and play with a band. It was my first band show I ever did. So we're all out there, and the sun is out, and I'm like halfway through my set. And as soon as the set ends, it storms and pours rain. And it was literally the best because everyone at our campsite, it was so muddy and there was so much water that the coolers were just bobbing in our campsite, like floating. And everyone was dancing in their boots, and everyone had their cowboy hats on. And we just like had the best weekend in the mud and the rain, and like made the best of it. And I think that's my definition of cowboy shit, is like, just bring it on, because we're about to have a good time.
That is one of our better answers we've ever had. I like that.
Greatness. All
you
right.
nailed it.
I thought you were going to go back to a Stampede story. I wasn't sure if that was. You're like, yeah, this one guy got bucked off in the mud, and then he was actually buried in the mud, and we had to go and pull him out of the mud. Or
could have been, but no, we just had a really good time making the best of the rain. It was awesome.
Oh, that's fun. Well, we don't want to hold you up anymore. Thanks again for taking the time this morning.
Oh, thank you guys for taking the time. It's a joy chatting with you. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys at CCMAs.
Yeah,
thanks,
you
Tenille.
as well. Well, Dustin, thanks again. We got to say thanks again to Tenille Townes for making the show happen. Thanks for taking the time. And once again, CCMA week in Edmonton. It's September 11th to the 14th. There's events all week. Check it out at ccma.org. ccma.org.
And watch the award show. You might see us down on the floor.
You might see us there, possibly. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
We'll be the Cowboys in the blue and orange suits, like Dumb and Dumber.
And hosted by Thomas Rhett and Mackenzie Porter.
Yeah.
Great hosts, big stars. I can't wait.
Ooh, should we make some award predictions? Or nah? Maybe not.
One. Give your one prediction.
Oh, okay. I think Jade Eagleson's going to win 2 awards. That's what I'm going to say.
2 awards?
Jade Eagleson's going to win 2 awards. That's my guess.
Okay. I'm siding with Tenille Townes, capturing a 6th straight Female Artist of the Year.
Ooh.
That's what I'm going with. I know it's fresh from this episode, but that's what I'm feeling.
All right. I like it. Okay, it's going to be a fun time though. Looking forward to the show.
Cool.
But Dustin, we were talking before we started recording here about we wanted to kind of switch things up a little bit on the show. And we've both done some shows the last couple of weeks and whatnot, and been at lots of rodeos, but what really makes us tick, Dustin, right? Like, what have we been up to? Like, this last weekend, I took my camper and went camping for the first time ever in my camper that I've owned for a year and a half, that I've only used at rodeos so far.
Yeah, but you legit camped.
I actually camped. I actually went
into a campsite.
Yeah.
There's no rodeo around.
Yeah, just went camping.
Like normal people do.
Right? Yeah. I did a normal person thing, and it was actually kind of fun. Like, I was like, oh, this is, I might do this again. This was quite enjoyable, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't crash my truck into the camp, like the tree. Like, I was back in the trailer, and I was trying to look around and be like really aware of where I was going. And at one point I looked out at the front of my truck, and I was about 3 inches from a tree. I just about mucked the side of my truck into a tree back in the camper into the parking spot.
It's amazing how campsite owners and these places have realized that today's era of truck drivers and people that have rigs and campers aren't really good drivers. So you see a lot of them are advertising pull-through sites. Like that's like a selling point.
That was one of the things when I was booking it. It was like I could book a pull-through. But the other part of it, though,
that's for the bad drivers. Yeah,
for me being an inexperienced camper, I was like, I don't know how long my trailer is. Like, I don't know how long this is. I have no idea. Yeah. I don't know how long my truck is. I don't know how long my trailer is. I know that I can go camp it in Ponoka and I can camp for the weekend.
These are real people problems, Ted, not rodeo people problems.
Yeah, see, like, I don't know, but like I just booked the longest one I could get. There was like a 51-footer and a 61-footer, and turns out I was totally fine. But the one we went to the first day was a little bit dicey, a little bit small. Okay. Just about crashed the truck on the way in, but also did it in one try, so points for me.
So now that you're a normal person who's doing normal people things like camping,
I have 3
Um,
weekends off in September where there's no rodeos, Dustin.
let's
What
go
do I do with
camping.
myself?
Okay, so I just want to ask you, what's your favorite thing that you experience camping that you don't normally experience? And what was the
Okay.
worst part about camping?
The favorite thing was having no phone service, to be totally honest.
That's money.
Yeah, I didn't look at my phone at all. Like I think Saturday, the only thing I used my phone for was like to play some music on the speaker.
Okay, so
But
that's cool.
otherwise,
That's so disconnecting.
yeah, like having real
Yeah.
conversation, making some nice food. Uh, yeah, like just sitting outside. Like at one point last night outside, just laid on the picnic table and looked at the stars and like actually saw a couple shooting stars. Like just like looked at the sky and looked at the stars and just like shut everything off. I was like, wow, this is actually it's actually kind of cool. Like I haven't done this in a long time.
So all that people are getting from today's episode is that Ted's turning soft and enjoys stargazing, and that I eat steak 3 times a week. But hey, people
I made
ask
some
for
good
it.
pork chops. They were
People
delicious.
ask for it. So what's the worst part about camping for you? I mean, you've
So
done it once now
after my one
in
time
your
camping,
camping career. What's the worst part about camping?
the camper probably and all the shit that it takes. Like I could not figure out how to fucking turn the oven on for the life of me. Like I could not. So I just had to fry the potatoes up. Luckily it was fine and they turned out awesome. But like I could not figure out how to turn the oven on. It just was not happening. Like I don't know if I need to like self light it or like if
And
there
you
was
didn't
some.
have phone service to Google it.
Yeah, there's no phone service, so you're just screwed. You're just like, okay, well I guess I'm making everything one pot today, one pan. Just gonna put everything through the wok and just
It is a
hopefully
big
it's still warm.
procedure to set up a campsite, set up a camper, take all the things.
Yeah. It was quite a bit of a process, but also like I probably spent like 3, 4 hours on Friday, like getting the bed made and like putting all the stuff in there. And like, I was like, oh yeah, I need this and that. And then I realized I was like, oh fuck, I totally forgot stuff to put leftovers in. Oh
Uh,
shit, I don't have a serving spoon. Oh crap, I don't have any actual cutlery. Everything's plastic. Like there was.
I think the worst part's dumping the shitter.
Oh, and I didn't mind that. Like dumping the shitter was like not a big deal for me today. Like
Okay.
I've kind of got used to that now. And Cortland showed me the process. You got to dump the shitter first, and then then you pull the hose for
The
the
gray water.
the gray water. So then the gray
And it
water
flushes
rinses out your
out.
shit
Yeah.
hose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do them the other way around.
No. Shitter
Um,
first, then the gray water. But mine has shitter and then gray water with the shower water and then the like sink water from like the kitchen. So
okay.
there's two sets of
There's
gray water.
two.
So by the
I've
time that the sink water has gone down, the shitter water is fine. It's like, yeah, no big deal.
And
So I
then
don't
you
mind that
always
part.
see the guy driving down the road of the camper and the old shit snake hose dangling behind that gets left on there. That's always a
Yeah.
funny moment.
Luckily we didn't do that part. But then like the camper thing though, the little trap doors that you got all the stuff you hide in, like those fucking things were staying open, like they wouldn't stay closed on the one side. And then like the one panel on my camper is like blowing apart, like it's not working, but
You know what you
ah,
sound like right now, Ted? An actual camper. These
an
are the
actual
things.
camper.
This is part of it.
Oh
This
man.
is part of it. Cool.
Someday I might like to buy like a newer one. This one I bought for my mom and it cost me like I think I bought it for like 15 grand. And I was like, yeah, like that'll be fine. I'll just use it for Pinoca and Strathmore and use it for these rodeos and like it's a nice, pretty good sized camper. It's pretty
Well,
good.
now some of
Even
these campers now, like the side, like outside of them, they got their own like
outdoor kitchen.
fridges and stoves and margarita mixers, and
Yeah, isn't that wild?
that's doing it right.
But I do gotta say, hopefully Sean and his family like the camper because they stayed in Pinoca during the Chuckwagon finals over top
Yeah,
of
everybody
Labor Day.
camping.
So
Everybody
hopefully they enjoyed
camping.
it. It was
Cool.
the Morton family's first time camping altogether. So
Everybody's camping. Everybody's having a good time.
yeah. Yeah, but Dustin, we had some other serious shit we were talking about. We
Oh
should probably get
yeah.
into before we're done.
Well, because we were just talking about like, hey, what has happened in our last couple of weeks that we like to talk about on the show, and we always talk about rodeos.
Yeah.
So now we've talked about your camping.
Yeah.
But I was talking about that I was on the scene of a wreck,
A crash.
a crash, which we used to talk about like when I was a guest on the show when I was still in the fire department. We used to talk about like some of that stuff. I think we talked about it on my show, but I was saying I had never really had one. I was in a bad wreck once, but I had never actually seen one happen like right in front of my eyes. So me and Ali were
Hopefully
driving.
never have to too, by the way.
Yeah, they're horrible. Um, we were driving out to K and K, I think is the new Western store just outside of Strathmore.
Yeah, they moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really beautiful location, by the way.
Great Beck
Um,
sunglasses, Montana Silversmiths, and
yeah,
Cowboy Shit
I
in
seen some
stock
Cowboy
now.
Shit buckles in there afterwards.
Yes.
But we're driving out there, and so that's on Highway 1.
Indoor saddle fitting too, by the way.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're driving on Highway 1, just
Going
about
eastbound.
going eastbound, and at 4:30 to 5:30, that's so busy. Everybody that commutes from Strathmore and
Yep.
everywhere out there. Busy highway, and there's the road that goes south to, I think, is it Cheadle or somewhere down that way, or
Yeah,
towards
24, I think.
Yeah, and there's a 3/4 ton pickup truck right in front of our truck, and a car pulls out trying to get onto the westbound lane, so they got to cross the eastbound lanes at least to try and get to the meridian. They pull right out, and within a fraction of a second just hit square on.
Oof.
So they get hit in the furthest south lane, and it freaking smokes this Jeep. The Jeep goes from the eastbound lane, the furthest south, across the meridian, crosses both north lanes, gets hit so hard, and then ends up in the west lanes, ends up in the north side of the ditch. So this thing gets cranked on by a couple of Hutterites who had no time to swerve. Like, they just hit it square on.
Do you think that person like wasn't paying attention or was in a hurry, or like what do you
Or
think
that
was going
or
through
that
their
truck
mind?
was just in that, like right in your blind spot where you just like that
Don't see it.
second you don't see him.
Oh.
But we weren't that far behind either, so she was gonna get cranked either way.
Yeah.
But so anyways, the conversation that we were having was just, it's wild seeing something happen like that in real time. And
because you used to show up as a firefighter and knew what was happening, but now you
Totally.
go and you show up and you're like, oh shit.
Well, it's when you're a firefighter and you get a call, you know what to expect
Mhm.
because they tell you every detail. Hey, there's someone trapped in a vehicle. They're conscious. They're fine. They just can't get out the door. Or,
Yeah.
you always know what you're going into. They give you every detail, age and every ailment, and their foot's stuck under the gas pedal, but they're fine, like blah, blah, blah. But when I jumped out of the truck, like Allie just didn't even have it in park yet. And I could tell the Jeep was hit the worst. So I ran across both the two lanes we were in, through the meridian and across the other lanes, just full speed. But it was, the driver's side was facing me, and the airbags on the curtains were all down, so you can't see inside. So it's like, I was saying how it's bizarre for the first time, not knowing what you're actually like, if there's kids in there, pets, if they're alive, if they're dead, whatever. So
Yeah, you don't know.
I was just saying how, like, that's the worst feeling, running up to something just not knowing, because I always knew before
Yeah.
you're getting into. You always knew. So just saying how scary that was. Because everyone's like, oh, that's, you're the perfect guy to an accident happen in front of you. You've seen it all the time. But I'm like, yeah, I never
Seen
had
it
the
happen.
like anticipation of like, what am I about to see? And now I have to act. And then it's helpless, because what do you do for 15
Got no
minutes?
tools.
You got no tools. The person, they were conscious and they were, talking, and they had to use the jaws of life to get her out of the side of the vehicle. So you're just trying to guide people. I'm on the phone with 911, and I'm like, geez, I never had to do this before. This is really crazy.
Holy.
So yeah. So first on scene of like my first big wreck.
Jeez.
I've came across accidents and like jumped out and gave a helping hand, and they'd happen 5 minutes or 10 minutes before that. That was the first time I've seen one that wasn't my own, in real time and like right in front of us. It's crazy. And Allie, of course, was a nurse. So she jumped out and she helped the two Hutterite gentlemen who had hit her and looked after them. So it was nice to have her up with that vehicle. And I think everybody was okay, like in that respect. But yeah.
And so how many other people stop and like help out?
Do you know what? It was good. Another guy jumped out, and he came once I popped the door open and was in with the lady. He's like, "What can I do?" And so I told him to go in the back seat and hold her head and neck, what we call C-spine.
Yeah.
And he was really good. But it was amazing how many people, when I was trying to run across the lanes to get to that Jeep, how many people just slowed down for me to run across the road, and then just kept going.
Yeah.
And I know that's a thing. Like, some people, like, they cannot handle that.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's always like a moral debate of like, should people stop? And then, people see, well, there's already someone there, or they're too scared to go out and see it. And that happens because it can be very traumatic. You don't know what you're getting yourself into. So, But then like an off-duty police officer stopped and he showed his badge and he said, "I'll help." And eventually, especially on a busy highway like that, you get lots of help.
Yeah.
I remember when I got in my accident, it was at the intersection of 590 and 21 by going towards Delburn. And I remember instantly when I kicked my door open and crawled out of my truck, a car drove, and this is at 11:30 at night on a Sunday night, -30, cold winter night. A vehicle drove right by.
Yeah.
Didn't even stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had no one stop till probably 10 minutes later.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Because there was
And,
no
like,
other
could you
vehicles
guys-
came by. But that one they would have seen the accident. They were that close.
Yeah.
And they kept going.
Holy shit.
But and there's those, like, hate to say it, like, hey, someone had a couple drinks, they don't want to stop and then have to give a report and help out and be around police
Yeah.
and stuff.
I get it.
So it's very situational, which is shitty, but yeah. So I don't know. I'm always curious on people what the reasons why they don't stop or do or
yeah. Who knows?
So that was my real life incident this week.
Oh yeah. Well, and actually, I was stopped at the Golden Petro Canada, and I actually don't know how to handle this, but I had a guy fucking back into my truck in the fucking parking lot. He was just like, I don't know if he was fucking drunk from the night before or if he was currently fucked up or what the hell, but he just like was on a stupid angle, like a totally ridiculous whatever, and he fucking backed into my truck in the fucking parking lot. Like I was inside the lines of the parking spot, and he was like, I don't know if he was back, I don't know what he was trying to do, but he fucking backed into my truck and like marked it up. Pardon?
Did he hit and run?
No, I got his info or whatever, but like, but I haven't done anything about it yet because I kind of forgot about it. But I was like, I was kind of mad. I was like, what the fuck, man? Like, no big deal, but also like, fucking, how do you do this in a parking lot?
Yeah.
Accidents happen, but like, I just kind of I stood up to him. I was like, okay, cool. And I got a picture of his license plate, got his info and whatnot. But like, what are you supposed to even fucking do with that situation? And also, like, I can't be mad at the guy because like shit happens. Okay, whatever. It's just stuff like whatever. I don't want to be a prick. I just kind of like, how do you manage to do that in a parking lot? Also,
well, I'm a bad driver at times. I've hit people in parking lots. I've had people hit me. You never know. Happens. I don't know. It just happens. Funny story, quick one. No, I've been telling old stories and we're almost wrapped up here, but I was I was at a party, at a friend's party. The parking lot was on a sloped hill.
Yeah.
I had a little car at the time I was driving. I bought it.
It was broad daylight too, by the way.
No, it was night. No. But his vehicle slid down the hill and ended up on the hood of my car. Like people had to lift it up for us to get the car underneath it. So it totally banged it up. So I'm like, damn. So take the vehicle into the auto body place in Stettler. They're fixing it. And they deliver me a rental vehicle from Red Deer right to the body shop. I pick up the rental. I'm like, I really need this rental because I'm driving to Kindersley the next morning. I was going for a job interview.
Okay.
To be the voice of the Kindersley Clippers junior hockey team.
Oh, wow. Look at this. Big time.
So I go pick up the rental car. The next morning, I'm leaving 5 a.m. for this job interview. Heading down Highway 9, blizzard, horrible winter driving conditions. Fucking deer runs out in front of me, hit the brake.
Boom.
Don't hit the deer. No, I totally do about 5 360s on the highway. Go down this bank through a barbed wire fence.
Oh, geez.
Tow truck comes, hauls my vehicle. The auto body shop said, you're the first person that has had two vehicles that they drive side by side in the body shop within 2 days of each other. So my rental car was sitting in the one bay and my actual vehicle was in the other bay.
Oh, geez.
And they said, you're good for business.
Holy. That's pretty wild.
Yeah. So there you go.
Huh. Well, yeah, shit happens anyways, but I still got to figure out what the hell to do with that. Like, I don't know if I'm supposed to, I got to call my insurance people or whatever and figure out what the fuck to do.
I had a lady when the last year CFR was in Edmonton, I was driving to the rink and a lady merged lanes and I was in her blind spot, fucking clipped the front of my truck. We pull over and she's like, we cannot go through insurance. We cannot go through insurance. Like, how much money do you want? I'm like, well, like just a bumper and I think she cracked my front light. And she's like, oh, well, let me know. So I went back to the same body shop in Stettler where I've been such a great customer. I'm like, how much to fix all this stuff? And so they gave me like a quote and it was like $1,200. So I messaged the lady and I'm like, hey, like, here's the quote. She e-transferred me within like 5 seconds. She sent me $1,200.
Really?
She's like, no insurance. Here's $1,200. And then I never even
wow.
got it fixed. I just I
Kept
don't
the
know if
money.
I did. I don't know if I committed insurance fraud, if I'm a criminal. Now that I think about it, I kind of feel bad. But this
Oh,
lady was
dear.
hiding something,
Yeah.
and she did not want to do it the right way. And then I traded the truck in, and it was all good. But
No big deal. Yeah, I wonder.
So
Oh man.
maybe go down that road, Ted. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I gotta work on this a little
Complete
bit.
insurance fraud like I did. Hopefully
Oh,
my
dear.
insurance agency's not listening.
Oh dear. Okay, one more quick thing. So CPRA rodeos this last weekend, there was 2 shows, and there was no qualified bull rides at either one between Coronation and Medicine Lodge. And I did not look at the draw beforehand. I think you did, right?
Yeah, there was only a couple, and we weren't wanting to knock the rodeos because they're both good rodeos. Coronation's
nothing
a
against
great
rodeos.
rodeo.
Well, timing.
But now with the CFR being in October, Armstrong, Langley, and Merritt last week were the cutoff for CFR.
Yeah.
And now the CFR is happening 3 weeks after these rodeos.
Yeah.
So if you made the CFR, why would you go get hurt at Coronation? 3 weeks. Now you used to have almost 2 months to recover.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Do we see the end of rodeos happening after the cutoff, after what we've seen this weekend? Like 2 between both rodeos, no bull rides, 3 qualified bareback rides, 2 by Colton Ouellette in both, won both.
Yeah, won both rodeos.
Medicine Lodge, the team roping perf, had 3 teams in the perf.
Yeah.
So
looks like
again,
Old still got really good entries. Just for this weekend coming up. But like the other thing about it is that some of these still count for the PRCA standings, and they also count for next year for 2025.
That's right. Yeah. So the
and
money
also
still counts.
And somebody else told me that actually I was sitting with Straw's Milan in Cochrane on Monday, and he told me that he had to go because he had to make the Maple Leaf finals. That was why he was still going.
So there's still some dangling carrots out there, if you want to use that terminology, to get guys to enter. But
a little less incentive now, though.
Yeah, you think of the days when the last rodeos, like when it used to be like Hannah and McCord or Brooks and Hannah, when those were the cutoff for NFR and cutoff for the CFR.
Same time.
These rodeos were rocking because everybody was trying to get count, get their last bucks. Like Flundra made the NFR at a Hannah by like $80 one year, I think it was.
Yeah,
if I
remember really neat.
Correct. So
I think you're right.
I'm just really curious what it does for these fall rodeos now, on what they do. I don't know.
I think that
if you're putting on the rodeo, do you move dates?
Yeah, but I think that if my memory serves me right, the CFR news came out after probably some of these dates were kind of set.
Yeah, you're probably right. That's right.
I think.
Yeah.
So my expectation would be that like Medicine Lodge used to have a rodeo like May long weekend, so they might move.
And they still do. They have their amateur rodeo in the spring and their pro rodeo in the fall.
Okay, and then I don't know about Olds.
Coronation used to be July with Benalto.
Calgary, the first week of
Calgary.
Stampede. Yeah. Hannah's kind of always been September, and then Olds is a new show. It's only been September too. So I don't know what they'll do. Like if they can still get a show. Look based on the draw, it looks like they have a fine program. So maybe they're okay doing that. But Hannah, I'll be curious to see what they end up doing.
And those rodeos, like Hannah, I think it's 3 perfs, like Fridays, Saturdays, or it used to be 3.
It's only 2.
It's down to 2. Okay.
It's only 2 this year, but
so
it
no
used to be
Sunday.
3.
Yeah.
It did used to be 3. Yeah.
So that's probably a cause of that, maybe, or
gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Anyways, got lots coming up, Dustin. We got CFR in a few weeks, and PBR Canada Cup Series returns in Grande Prairie in a couple weeks. And I'm off till Grande Prairie, man. So I'm just chilling. I'm probably not going to do any more camping, but maybe
we'll do some other fun stuff in between. Ride some horses, play some golf while the weather's nice still.
Yeah, we got the sports medicine golf tournament will be already wrapped up time the show comes out.
Yeah, kind of the next big one for the CFR. So congrats to everybody that made it. Of course, the cutoff was last weekend.
Yeah,
like there was a ton of events that under $100 got you in or out.
How about Colby beating Kyle Wanchuk?
Yeah,
bronc riding.
Hey, little bro.
Hey, little bro,
you're out by $60.
Right, maybe next year. Try a little harder.
Yeah, that'll be funny. And then like Cole Ashbacker, I think that was one of my favorite stories.
Me too.
Was Cole Ashbacker had to win both rodeos to get in, and he did. Just lost his mom. Condolences to the family, and like that's what is so special about sport is when you have those kind of stories and moments. And that was probably one of the coolest things was seeing that happen. And
Yeah, I'm with you.
and yeah, so some really exciting races to the finale. Some team ropers in and out without their partners, so it'll be interesting. Always interesting to see who ends up roping together. I think there were some breakups during the season, and some guys got in and some guys didn't. So that'll be fun. Yeah, so it's going to be a really good CFR. First one back in Edmonton for the 50th.
Ooh, do you want me to like spill some dirt on the show right now, Dustin?
Can you?
I don't know. Should I talk about the story about Armstrong and my interactions with certain someone there? Maybe not.
Plead the fifth, I think.
Okay, but I do have a funny one on the same breath. I was walking back and forth to somewhere, and Cody Lamb was making jokes about something. I don't know what it was now, but he made everybody a chuck. So we were talking about Kobe and Kyle Wanchuk, and he was like, "Yeah, if this bareback riding thing doesn't work out, I think I might just get in the bathtub and jump through a flaming ring of fire, and then I could just be Cody Lamb Chuck."
That's actually good.
And then he was like, "Yeah," he was talking about I hadn't met Ethan Mazarenko before, but he was like, "Yeah, there's like, I was calling him Ethan Mazarenchuk," and I just thought I thought that was funny as shit that he was gonna be Cody Lamchuk and be a rodeo clown,
Oh, that is good. I like that.
right? Dustin Edwards Chuck, that could be a pretty good rodeo clown.
Yeah.
I thought I made a good one the other day though when I was calling Sean Morton Chuck. That's also not bad.
Well, didn't they used to call Cale Ethier? He was something, wasn't he? Half Chuck or something?
Yeah, he was a 3/4 Chuck, I think.
3/4 Chuck. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we still have to do that next year. We're going to work on this. We're going to have some sort of charitable aspect component of it and some sort of fundraising thing where someone in our group has to clown.
Has to be a rodeo clown
for a day. Because we're talking about how hard it is to be a rodeo clown, and we're gonna do it.
Oh dear.
I
also got to throw a little anti-shade to Lonnie Phillips. He was giving Dakota Butter a hard time last year, and I kind of called him out on it. But this year he made the CFR outright. So good work, Lonnie, making yourself to the CFR.
Yeah,
and
he did.
Good effort.
He wrote good this year.
Yeah, and good effort to Lonnie West coming in hot in the last like month and a half, almost freaking making it. Only missed out by 220.
I think I told the story on here on the last episode after Pincher Creek when he said, I'm not out of it yet," after he went in the office and found out how much money he won.
Yeah.
Catherine said, "Hey, this is what you won," and he looked at me and says, "Don't count me out yet."
Yeah.
And he turned it on and turned it up the final. He bucked off in merit. And I think if he would have stayed on there and could have won the rodeo, I think he might have got in. He was darn close.
That's wild.
But hell of an effort. Wow. It was really cool.
Yeah, good effort. Long to be back. Yeah. Anyways, we better wrap it up here, Dustin. Thanks.
Yeah, been a great show. Thanks to Tenille Townes, and thanks everybody at CCMA. They've made this last month of shows so fun. We got to interview, Jade Eagleson and Haley Benedict and Jackie Ray Greening and Tenille Townes, and then we get to go meet them all and see them in person this week. So gonna be fun.
Gonna be awesome. Okay, thanks for joining us, everybody.